And we're back with an all-new edition of Buckets and Dimes, Nuts and Bolts Sports NBA podcast. Joe Cardozo joined as always by Patrick Hillwig. We got a little Wizards versus New York Knicks and London action going on in the background. Pat, what's going on, man?
Oh, not too much. Like you said, it's exciting that, while we're doing the show, we got the Wizards game coming on, get to see, if they're going to progress and how Bradley Beal's been doing. I'll talk a little bit more about him later. It's really fun to kind of get into that stuff. But yeah, I'm excited, man. It's a fun day to be in here talking about basketball with you guys out of the cold for once, which is coming quickly.
True indeed. We got a jam-packed show for you guys. Of course, as always, we'll have our usual news and notes and kind of our thoughts on that, and of course our power rankings. But with the mid-season coming very fast approaching, we'll have our grades today. Well, Pat and I will each grade all the teams in the NBA so far, do a little bit of discussion about that as well. But like we do every show, we're definitely going to kick it off with our power rankings. I'll go ahead and set that thing off right now this week. Power rankings kind of went back to normal per se. I had a little bit of a shake-up last week, and some of the teams that I picked last week in the top 10 are still there, just shift around a little bit. So for me this week, I have Toronto number 1, Golden State Warriors come at number 2. I have the Denver Nuggets at 3. The Milwaukee Bucks are my 4 team. Indiana Pacers 5. San Antonio Spurs 6. Oklahoma City is 7. I have the Houston Rockets at 8, Boston Celtics at 9, and then my 10th team this week is the Philadelphia 76ers. That's kind of what I'm looking at this week.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we definitely got a little bit of a switch around here. I did do some of this the other day, so I had to update some stuff. I do got some players or teams that are going to be changing a little bit, but of course the Raptors won. I do have the Bucks coming in at 2. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Then, of course, I have the Warriors behind the Bucks. They're on fire right now. That game last night was unbelievable. I got to stay up and actually watch it. After the Warriors, I do have the Rockets, the Nuggets, followed by the Pacers, Sixers, Spurs at 8, Thunder dropped all the way to 9, and the Trailblazers I've got coming in at number 10 this week.
Yeah, Portland's kind of turned things around a little bit. I mean, they started off real hot. Knowing our earlier shows, at one point they were like number 1 or number 2 in the West. But like most things in basketball, ebbs and flows. And I know last week I had San Antonio ranked. I think I had them at 3, maybe even 2 last week. Still playing really good basketball in San Antonio, but looking at the games we had this last couple of days and last week or so, I had some shaking up there, and I had Portland just on the outside looking in when it comes to top 10. I also had Utah, who made some noise this week in my rankings as well, who are knocking on the door of possibly being a top 10 team down the line somewhere. We'll have to see.
Oh yeah, I mean Utah is definitely one of those teams to talk about right now. They're on fire right now. They're 8-2 in their last 10, won 5 games in a row. They look like the team that made the playoffs last year, not the team that we saw this year. They were missing a couple of key players for a while, but Rudy Gobert, man, that guy is out there balling. He's going to be up for Defensive Player of the Year again.
No doubt.
I mean, he's on that list every single year. You got a couple players, him, Anthony Davis. Year after year after year, I don't care what their team's rankings are. Those guys are out there balling every night.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert is the last of a dying breed almost when it comes to like a true center. I know that everybody's playing small ball now and shoot the three, get in transition, but Rudy Gobert is kind of a throwback to that late 80s, early 90s basketball as far as a back-to-the-basket guy, but is able to move and guard guys that are smaller than him and adapt his game to today's NBA. I'm definitely a big fan of the big Frenchman playing out there in Utah. And it's good to see the Jazz get back together. I know, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we were wondering what's going on with the Jazz. They seem to have figured things out, and things are clicking for that squad. So we'll have to see. And, of course, the Nuggets keep on plugging along, staying in everyone's top 10. We're going to talk a little bit about award winners and some of our midseason awards. And I know you have a lot of high praise for what's going on in Denver and their coach, what Mike Malone's doing out there, as far as getting that team to perform at a high level. Now, I spoke about it at the beginning of the show. We're kind of at the midway point of the NBA, so we wanted to kind of grade each team in the NBA and give our grades on what we have those teams so far, talk about it a little bit and discuss and see what we agree on, what we don't agree on, but it's definitely a chance for a good debate. Just going down the line, alphabetical order seems to be the easy way to do things here. We'll start off with the Atlanta Hawks. My grade for the Atlanta Hawks so far this season was a C. I gave them a solid C. Some of the standouts I see there, of course, Trae Young, not shooting a great percentage from deep, but doing enough to warrant the draft status he had. And, of course, you got to be impressed with what you've seen so far this year from Jason Collins. So I gave the Hawks a C.
No, I'm pretty much on point with you. I gave them a B-. I like the trade that they made to go from Luka Doncic to get Trae Young in the draft. I really like that young kid. I mean, he's got a lot of time ahead of him to really improve. And he's actually, I mean, we knew what he could do coming in the league from seeing what he did in college, just the way he could shoot anywhere on the court. But I think he's really matured slowly but surely as the season goes on, and I'm excited to see them. And every week, they're in almost every game. You know, they get blown out from time to time, but most of the time they're in the games close.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I'd agree with that. Moving on to the Boston Celtics. I gave the Boston Celtics a B. I think I still have some question as far as getting Gordon Hayward back full strength and kind of getting him in the swing of things. I know he had volunteered to make that move to the bench. I mean, based on what I saw last night from Kyrie Irving's performance, 18 assists, some jaw-dropping shots from Kyrie, and also the play of Jason Tatum. I feel like the Boston Celtics are going to figure things out. I know we saw some things as far as some arguments and stuff on the bench we saw that was on social media. That comes with the territory over the course of an 82-game season. You're going to have disagreements, and in the age of social media where everyone has a camera and everything's captured, you're going to see that from time to time. But I give the Boston Celtics a solid B.
Yeah, for the Celtics, I gave them a B-. I think with the talent that they have, I'm not sure if what we got last year was just a prequel of what could be, and they kind of took a step back, if you ask me, just the way some of those younger players are performing right now.
Okay.
You got a guy like Scary Terry, Rozier. Is he going to, what's he going to do? Is he going to make that next step to be that guy that's going to take, points when Kyrie's not there? Because we see Kyrie, he does have injuries from time to time.
That's
and
true.
They really need him to step up. Marcus Smart, one of my favorite guys on that team. I love that guy. I love the heart that he plays with, the energy that he plays with. But, those young guys, they had a taste last year of
Jaylen
what it
Brown.
tasted like to be, the top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, this year, you can't just expect to be right back there. And I think that's what we talked about, Kyrie Irving and some of the remarks that he's been making about how he even reached out to LeBron James recently, called him to apologize for being that guy that, wasn't ready to have some other, a more veteran player come in and try to tell him what it takes to be a winner, and just think that, hey, I've got the talent, I think I can do it, I know I can do it, I'm just going to do it every night. And it just, and yeah, of course, a lot of players do have that talent, and that's what they have, and that's what they live on. But if you want to be great, you have to be able to take that talent, and one, you have to be able to share it with other players, and two, you have to be able to do it consistently night in and night out, and you can't take any time off, and not even just on the court during regular season games. Practice. You got to practice the same way, too. You look at Kobe Bryant. You look at LeBron James. You look at Michael Jordan. How did they practice? Hard.
Yeah, out all the time.
All out.
Yep.
They expect 110%
Those guys are ferocious
from you.
competitors.
Right. No matter what. They're diving for balls in practice. There's no, I get paid enough already. I don't need to dive for this ball in practice. No, because it's all repetition. If they do it in practice, they'll do it in the game, and that's how they are, some of the top players in the game.
No, I agree with that 100%. Moving on to Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, I give them a B+. I think it's one of the funner teams in the NBA. What Spencer Dinwiddie, D'Angelo Russell and those guys are doing, it's fun basketball. We talked about it a couple shows ago. LeVert's still out with that foot injury. So imagine when they get him back, how that team can perform. So that's been one of the bright spots for me in the NBA this season so far, has been the Brooklyn Nets. So I had no issue at all giving those guys a solid B+.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you. I've got an A for them, actually. They're one of those exciting teams to watch this year. I got to see them live when they played the Wizards, and they are exciting to watch. You mentioned the guy, what's LeVert? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. The injury, man, can you imagine how good they would be the way he was playing right now? And, man, that guy Spencer Dinwiddie, I watched the highlights from that game. I know you actually got to see the game, but I saw the highlights. That guy against the Rockets last night, what did he hit? 3 3-pointers in the last
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yep. He's been solid, man. Solid.
Unreal. And then hits the game winner. I knew that somebody else hit some free throws after that, but he hit the shot where he got fouled in overtime to give him the lead as well. So, he came up really big last night. He got that big contract that they signed him for this year. So he's well worth it and exciting to watch.
Yeah, he has definitely taken the leadership role by the horns and is leading that team. And they're not perfect. They have their deficiencies. Of course, they could use some more outside shooting like everybody else in the NBA could, and they definitely can improve the defensive end. But from what we expected from Brooklyn, especially based on what we saw in the past, if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, you have to be excited about what you're seeing so far this season. Moving on to the things in Charlotte, the Charlotte Hornets, I gave them a C. My biggest thing with Charlotte, help Kemba Walker. Just not enough help for a guy who leaves it all on the floor every night. And that's something that people throw out there all the time. He leaves it all out on the floor. Kemba really does. So I gave the Hornets a C.
Man, with the Hornets, we're again right on point. I'm a B minus, just because Kemba Walker has just put that team on his back every year for the past few years. I think the last time they made the playoffs was 2016. So they gotta definitely, and that was the year I think they lost to the Heat as well.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Dwayne Wade, I remember that game, and they had that heckler on the
Yep,
sideline. Yep. So I mean, I gave them a B minus. I'm looking at a team that they could be really good, and they're in the hunt. Each year to get in that playoff spot, but each year so far, they've fallen just a little bit short. So I like where they're at now. They're in the top 8, but it's a long season. We're just about a little over halfway. We got the All-Star game coming up, so let's see what they can do moving forward.
Next team looking at is Chicago Bulls. No words. F. Floor is yours.
I'll leave. There's not really much to talk about there. This team's one of the most disappointing teams. The way they've used Jabari Parker, Zach LaVine. I like those guys and seeing what they're doing, but I gave them a D. I don't think I had anybody with an F, but I definitely have a couple teams with Ds, and I'm just going to go with you. I gave them a D.
Yeah, no words on Chicago. Moving on. Cleveland Cavaliers. I gave them a C minus. No Kevin Love. You got a new coach mid-season. You got a rookie point guard, young bull, who's trying to kind of feel his way through the NBA and figure out things. A lot of guys playing roles they haven't played before. Of course, plain as day, these are not the LeBron James Cavs of old, but they're trying. I got to see Kevin Love put into that squad and see if he can. Obviously, he's going to improve their quality of play. He's a perennial all-star. But for the first half of the season, I give the Cleveland Cavaliers a C minus.
See, I'm a little different with you. I give them a D minus. I know that they lost LeBron James, and that's obviously one of the best players in the game, and it's hard to lose a player like that. But you still have Kevin Love. You still have Tristan Thompson.
Love doesn't play the game. But go ahead.
I know, but I'm saying you're right. So, but they finished 4th in the Eastern Conference last year, and they're dead last. I get it. One of the worst players, one of the best players in the league left the team. But I just didn't think they would fall flat on their face.
I can respect that.
There's no way I expected them to do that. Tristan Thompson. They're talking about some trade rumors. One of my ideas. Especially since Clint Capella's out, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks for the Rockets. It's for the Rockets to go after Tristan Thompson. I think that would be a good fit for them, a guy to come, give them some energy, rebounds, blocking shots, a defensive guy. So I think that we'll see what happens, but the Cavs right now are at the bottom of the Eastern Conference.
I can respect that. No, that's a good point you bring up. I like that trade for the Rockets. I didn't even think about that. Tristan Thompson would be a nice addition, and when you get Clint Capella back, the two of them, that could be something you got to kind of figure out as far as minutes and who's playing what position. But that's what they pay the coaches for, and if anybody can figure it out, it's going to be Mike D'Antoni. Moving along, Dallas Mavericks. Starts with Luka Doncic, ends with Luka Doncic. I give Dallas Mavericks a B. I like what they're doing so far this season. I think the DeAndre Jordan signing has proven to be worth the wait. You remember all that fiasco they had last time they tried to sign into a contract. So I gave the Mavs a B.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on the Mavs, just about. I gave them a C+, though. I think Doncic is clearly one of the top up-and-coming players, young players in the league, 19 years old, and the stuff that he's doing
Keep forgetting he's 19.
Epic. Oh my! It's unreal to see a 19-year-old kid and some of the passes he was making. I know we had some highlights on earlier in the TV in the background, and you were just watching, and you were like, "Wait, what? What did he just do?" Just seeing him play. But as a whole, I'm just not too sure. I know that they're talking about trading. Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah,
they feel like they kind of whiffed on that one, so they're just they're trying to get some ideas on what they can get for him. But as a whole, like I said, for the Mavs, I went with a C+.
Looking at the Denver Nuggets, I had low expectations for this team this season. Super, super impressed with what they've done so far. I give these guys an A+. You're talking about the Joker. We're talking about Jamal Murray. And I've said it before, I'll keep on saying it. You still got Isaiah Thomas rehabbing from a hip injury on the bench. You still got a Michael Porter Jr. who hasn't played a game rehabbing. I want to say